Welcome to Ham Nation, episode 578 for July 31st, 2024. And how's it going, everybody? I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks for coming on out to Ham Nation here on the Ham Radio Crash Course. We got a packed show for you, so let's go ahead and hop over to say hi to our hosts to get things kicked off. Hello, everybody. How's it going?
So far, I think we're okay.
All right, very good. Starting, we'll see how it goes. Starting at the top.
Time for the wheels to fall off.
That's right. Starting at the top of the pyramid.
Double.
That's right. And
Gordo's fine.
We'll go to Gordo now that we're sorting out our levels. How you doing, Gordo?
We're doing fine. All is well. And the magic handheld that works the world. We'll talk about it and the wind system.
Very good. And Don, looking festive in your shirt. How's it going, buddy?
Thank you. It's warm in here. It's 91.2 degrees in this room.
Wow.
Which is about 5 degrees warmer than outside. So one of these days I got to get this central air fixed. But, you know, I've got other things to spend money on. So, but anyway, that's not why you called. We've got a great show tonight. We're going to talk about Huntsville Hamfest, special guest for that. We've got a huge solar update from Dr. Scove. The sun has been acting up a bit. She's going to tell us all about it. And something about these things right here. More on that later.
Indeed, yes. Amanda, how are you doing? You're looking. I love the Colorado shirt too. I was sneaking a peek at that when you joined. That's a cool shirt. In fact, why don't you tell everybody a little bit? I don't want to spoil your thunder. We're going to talk about it later.
I would love to talk about it right now.
Okay.
I am representing Coloradans for Responsible Wildlife Management, and I'm going to be presenting and doing a seminar at their Outdoorsman's Days event next weekend. And I wanted to promote it a little bit, and anyone in Colorado is welcome. Of course, from anywhere in the United States, you're welcome to join us. It's a free expo, and you can come learn about all things hunting, trapping, fishing, and support those rights, and also the scientific-based efforts of conservative wildlife management. So you're going to learn a lot, and I'm going to be teaching about amateur radio and how it can be helping in those situations when whether you're out in the woods or what be it. I can help, and hopefully I'll get some people licensed. That will be fun, but it's going to be a great time. And I have to tell you guys, I bought a Bofang. I wanted to show everyone the difference of radios while I'm there, and I didn't have any cheap radios, so I will be showing it off just so that everyone knows that it's an option. But anyhow, other than that, we got a great show tonight. Also, I'm going to be going over some upcoming events in amateur radio, and a cool little website about antennas and configuration of antennas I wanted to check out with everybody live. We'll be learning at the same time. Exciting stuff. So, and also Josh and I will be watching the chat room. So if you have any questions for our guest, send them our way and we'll capture and send them their way. Thanks. Can't wait.
All right. Well, that means our first stop is with Gordo, and we're going to learn a little bit about the wind system. I'm very excited.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Josh. And with us tonight is Stephen, and Stephen Agee is one of the big wheels with the wind system. Hi, Stephen. Welcome aboard.
Good evening, and thanks for having me, Gordo.
You got it. No, wait, just a second here. KK7MGM, go ahead with your report. We'll see how this handheld does.
And I've been able to communicate with people all across the United States, mostly in California, but all over the U.S., the southern U.S., Georgia, Texas, the East Coast over to Jersey. I've actually also made communications on this system with Jerusalem, the United Kingdom, Germany, South Korea. It's a fantastic system. It's great to have all this linked up and have it available to us. Really do enjoy it.
So, wow, all that coming through. Well, Steve, that's coming through, of course, the wind system. And how about telling everybody a little bit about the wind system? Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Gordo. And the WIN system, WIN used to stand for Western Intertie Network, but now we just say you can wing with the WIN system. We kind of shortened it down and made a corporation out of it, a nonprofit corporation and a club. And it started around late 1990 or early 1991, as best as anyone can remember, with Shorty, K6JSI, our founder, with the Vista repeater down in Vista, Southern California. And back in these days, you have to remember, we did not have any internet for linking. Now, with All-Star and Ham VoIP, anybody can link a repeater. It's easy. But back then, not so much. And so we used radios on 420 megahertz in the 70 centimeter band to link from mountaintop to mountaintop. And you could send control codes and DTMF and all that good stuff back then. But of course, you were limited to the number of repeaters that were on that 420 link. Hence, that's how the WIN system got its start in Southern California. From there, we got into, in 1998, the IRLP, Internet Radio Linking Project. That was our first internet link. And then All-Star, and now EchoLink. So we do have 3 different internet platforms that will link the WIN system. You can connect in as a guest on any of those. Back to you.
Wow, that's great. Now, one of the best parts about the WIN system that I enjoy, Stephen, is our get-togethers. And when we have get-togethers as WIN system members, how about telling everybody some of the things that takes place when we're at these get-togethers? Go ahead.
Okay, we do some training. We have service monitors sometimes set up. We help people, show them how to build repeaters. There is our president, or actually now he's our chief operating officer, past president. They're
Cool.
in the
bill.
and we like to encourage teaching people. There's a service monitor, of course, how to use this equipment, test equipment, diagnostic equipment, etc. in the building process, in the level setting process. There's a General Electric station, a Master 2 station, that is a repeater on our system, or was. It's been replaced now with some more modern equipment. And okay, there's a table set up, and I believe, I don't know if I was at that one or not. Sometimes I don't make all the camp outs, but we do have a camp out once every last weekend in September. We have a camp out, and we move it around. We started off at camp.
Well, I guess that was direct
Down in San Diego. And then we've been up north a couple of times. This year, we're a little bit north of L.A., coast of LA. But we hope that you can go to our website, winsystem.org, and check out. You can click on the camp out information. It's all there if you come by and see us.
Oh, that's great, Stephen. And look at all the antennas that the WIN system has through these participating repeaters. And, you know, on Friday nights, we always have a special night. And that Friday night is going to be all about technical topics. And we have one of the technical gurus out there. And Ron WB6IAG is going to give just a quick report. So let me get Ron on the air. Ron's hundreds of miles away, but we're able to make it on the WIN system. Go ahead.
I guess that was directed at me. You didn't indicate that. This is Ron, WB6IAG, one of the informative people of the WIN System Technical Net, held every Friday night at 6:30 to 8 p.m. Pacific Time on the wide area world of the WIN System. And any amateur radio questions are fielded and answered if possible. We usually do a pretty good job. We have Gordo and a fellow that works with All-Star, David, and a number of other knowledgeable people. So if you ever have any questions concerning the amateur radio band and something new that you don't understand, rules, regulations, etc., please listen Friday nights on the TechNet. It's WB6IAG, India Alpha Golf, 73 there.
And that's what the WIN system is just friendly voices out there. And that's really what makes the WIN system the friendly one. So, Stephen, go ahead and I'll bring up some more photos and let you talk about them. That was our get-together. Go ahead, Stephen. Oh, look at the heat sinks on that.
That's that's our past president showing off some equipment at one of the campouts. And the pictures with the many antennas that you saw was Santiago Peak, which is down south of LA a little bit, down towards Orange County. And that's our flagship repeater. And there used to be thousands of transmitters. There's still hundreds up there, but that's a very busy site up there, but it's a very high elevation. And that's one of our flagship repeaters right there in Orange County is Santiago Peak. I wonder who that fellow is.
Yeah, there you go. Getting ready for chow. And food is always fun to have at these get-togethers, huh?
We do. We have a dinner on Saturday night, and even if you come by, even if you're not a member, we will feed you dinner. We buy a bunch of meat in bulk, and we cook it all up and serve it up. And then Steve Taylor and whoever the current president is will get up and give us a state of the wind system message for about 10 or 15 minutes.
And of course, it's nothing's better than ladies that do the cooking. And we also do testing when we have the wind system get together and campouts. Stephen, how about telling folks how they can turn into the wind system in their local area throughout the country and our website? Go ahead.
Well, we have about 90 repeaters that are on our network full time, but we have a lot of affiliates as well. Some of these are repeaters that the club owns, but we have a lot of affiliates. I'm an affiliate. I have a half a dozen repeaters down in Texas, all the way from Galveston Island up to our state capital in Austin, Texas, that stay on the wind system most of the time. And of course, you're welcome to join as a visitor and, connect and disconnect as you wish. A lot of folks make the rounds to different networks out there, and one of them they like to come to is the wind system. And I should mention that TechNet, Gordo, it runs 6:30 until 8 p.m. Pacific time every Friday night.
And it's fun. We really enjoy having folks come on with their technical questions. Now, how might they get onto the wind system via their computer? Can they monitor possibly?
If they have a computer, a Windows PC, they can download the EchoLink app. They can also use that on their phone, their cell phone, the EchoLink app, and it's under our club call sign, KA6WIN. Easy to remember, KA6WIN.
And I understand that for those getting started, and we tell all our students that the wind system is free. They can monitor, they can make transmissions, and if you become a regular, we encourage all of our students to be sure and send a few dollars to maintain that wind system, because it's up to each individual repeater, operator, owner to set up their own station, huh, Steve?
That's correct. And, when you first get your license, it's a great place to go. We don't pressure you to join. We do ask that for years in the preface of the ARRL repeater directory, there was a statement that said, if you use a repeater on a regular basis, you should help support it. And that's still true today. It costs a lot of money to keep these things on the air. There's site rent, there's electricity, there's insurance. It just goes on and on nonstop, Gordo.
And one of the best parts about the wind system, especially for new hams, is on their magic handheld. They normally don't have to do a lot of programming. Many times the local repeater operator will leave it just tied in. So all you have to do is start talking, and be sure and leave about a 3-second pause after you turn it over to the other station. They're going to pause for 3 to 5 seconds before picking up the conversation, because we're going via microwave, via computer, cables, you name it. So we need that little pause. And again, one more time, Stephen, where can they look up and see where all the active repeaters are throughout the country?
Well, for us on our network, it's on our website, windsystem.org. Windsystem.org lists all of our repeaters. You just click on the repeaters, and you'll see the list come up there on the screen.
Terrific. And that's WIN, W, Whiskey, India, November, WIN. And thanks, Josh. That's great. So we would like to thank you, Stephen, so much for coming aboard, and also to Don, who was in Phoenix, Arizona, giving his report in 100-degree weather, and Ron, WB6IAG, north of me, who's one of the featured hosts on the Friday night TechNet at 6:30 our time out in California. So last to you, Stephen, and then we'll go back to our sponsor, which is ICOM. So, Stephen, go ahead.
Okay, yes, please join me. I am the host of the Technical Net every Friday night, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. You adjust for your time zone, but we allow 90 minutes for the net, and we get a lot of newbies on there. So if you're a newbie and you don't feel comfortable asking the question, please ask, because the only dumb question, as we say, Gordo, is the one you never ask. Thank you.
Well, you're one of the best hosts I've ever heard. So keep up the great work, and thanks for joining us on the Wind System. So, folks, tune in and get some excitement of worldwide communications, as well as always all over the USA. And of course, we sure hope you're doing it with an ICOM America handheld. Let's go to ICOM at this time.
Fun, Sun, and QSO. Wherever you go, keep the fun going with one of ICOM's go-to portables or remote rigs. The IC705 and IC7300 radios both feature a large touchscreen with real-time spectrum scope and waterfall display for intuitive functions and setting operation. So kick back, enjoy the breeze, and make those QSOs with ease. The IC705 portable radio provides base station features and performance in the palm of your hand. From HF to 50, 144, or 440 megahertz, enjoy a wide variety of bands in the D-Star DV, single sideband, CW, RTTY, AM, and FM modes. This handheld also includes an RF direct sampling system, wireless LAN and Bluetooth connectivity, an internal GPS receiver, and more. The IC7300 is an industry first to use an RF direct sampling system and an entry-level HF radio. This high-performance radio includes an audio scope function, IP+, class-leading RMDR and phase noise characteristics, 15 discrete bandpass filters, and a built-in automatic antenna tuner. This compact and innovative radio will far exceed your expectations. Bring the fun wherever you are by going remote. The optional RSBA1 remote control software allows you to operate your ICOM from a portable PC. For those of you with an IC7300, head on over to ICOMAmerica.com and download the latest firmware to get ICOM's new digital pre-distortion capabilities. This technology corrects nonlinear distortion at the final amplifier stage by applying inverse distortion at the pre-distortion section in the FPGA unit in advance. For more information about ICOM's amateur radios and to locate a dealer, visit ICOMAmerica.com/amateur today. For the love of ham radio.
And a big thank you to ICOM America for sponsoring Ham Nation. We really do appreciate it. And today is one of my favorite days because I get to give a radio away. Every time we are live, every time we're live on Ham Nation, you can click that Enter Now button and get entered into our swag pack giveaways. Every time we're live, we'll pick 3 winners to get a swag pack. Their names enter into our year-long running list of winners of swag packs that get picked once a month to win a radio. Sounds complicated. It really isn't, I promise. Just go enter. But so our swag pack winners for this episode are Robert M, W6OHJ, Dennis A, AI5QW, and Charles A, KQ4NTE. And the winner, if we scroll down here, what do we got for, let's see. Yes, July, the ICV3500 is going to go to David H, KE6GAE. So thank you again, ICOM. We really appreciate it. Now, I did want to go back a step and mention something about the Wind System. And for everybody that's listening, I saw a couple people in the comments say they don't have their license yet. Well, we encourage you to get your license. But just because you don't have your license, if one of those repeaters is in your area, you can go ahead and program it into your radio. Maybe program it so that you're not transmitting on that particular channel. If you have a Baofeng or whatnot, you can do that. And you can still listen to the TechNet. And there's tons of people who have similar questions that you might have that you'll probably get a lot from listening to the TechNet. So make sure you are on the air at that time at least and listening. All right? All right.
Oh, that's a great way to go. And when they hear Ron, his voice will be a little bit higher because I think my batteries were getting a little lower. Sorry, Ron.
Well, yeah, thanks, Ron, for the updates, too. All right, Don's got big updates for us. Real excited to hear everything he's got this week. Oh, you're muted. Can we hear Don?
Don, we can't hear you.
Uh-oh. I think
low batteries, huh?
Yeah, low. You struck him with the low battery curse.
I'll say hello to some people in the chat. Hi, Aaron. You're at the Teachers Institute. I hope you're having fun out there, learning lots.
You know, Gordo, let me ask you a question. With the wind system, I remember years ago, I haven't done this in a while, but as someone that was kind of new to radio, you'd be monitoring one of the repeaters and somebody would come on for a radio check, and then people would pretty much key up and give their information of where they're at in the world. Do people still do that? Is that a thing?
Oh boy, do they? Because they know the wind system is great for demonstrating to a classroom or to a big field of people listening for demonstrations. And they'll go for 15 minutes and they'll say Austin, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee. So
Nice.
You never know where people are, but you'll know afterwards.
I think we got Don back.
Yeah, it was a weird muting system deal configuration failure, snafu, just something just on my computer.
You did mention the wheels coming off, so I think we're at the top of the show. So
yeah, and probably the fact that it's 92 degrees in here and the computer's hot and has been working really hard probably is not helping it. Anyway, once again, that's not why you called. We're going to talk about the Huntsville Hamfest, which is coming up the third weekend in August. That is the 17th and 18th, I believe. And if I am wrong, then N4BCD, Mark Brown, who is the general chairman of the Huntsville Hamfest, will correct me. Mark, I love your call sign because your call sign reminds me of one of my favorite activities in the world that I used to do as often as I could, but haven't done in decades, and that is scuba diving. Do you know what the connection between your call sign and scuba diving is? I know you weren't here for the pop quiz.
Device, but I thought you were going to say bad conduct discharge.
No, that's you. But exactly,
Actually,
buoyancy compensation device. For those who don't know, that is the vest that a scuba diver wears that their tank is attached to, and there is a hose, an air hose from the tank that goes into the BCD vest, and that is how a diver adjusts their buoyancy to whether they're light in the water column or heavy in the water column, and they can stay at a certain depth without exerting a lot of energy. And it's very important to have your BCD balanced with weight and air, and that way you're not exerting yourself and using up all your air, which I've done before, and it's not good. But let's get back to ham radio, because we've got the Huntsville Hamfest. By far, Mark, I'm not just saying this because you're here, by far my favorite hamfest in the world. It was my very first big hamfest back in 1995, and I can count on probably this many fingers the amount of times that I've missed it in those years. Hasn't been very often, and it's been the home of the Amateur Radio Newsline Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Memorial Young Ham of the Year Award since, I want to say, 93, something like that. So we've got a long history with Huntsville. Tell us all about, for those who maybe don't even know, well, I knew there was a Huntsville, Texas. I got a Huntsville in Alabama. Let's tell them about what's going on at the Hamfest, the friendliest Hamfest in the world in Huntsville, Alabama.
Well, Don, and good evening, everybody. We continue to grow. We're not as big as Orlando and Dayton, but a lot of folks that stop by our booth at those shows tell us that we're right-sized. We take up the entire South Hall of the Von Braun Center. It's a downtown civic center. It's all indoors, all air-conditioned, including the flea market. We don't have an outdoor boneyard. Not possible in Alabama in August. So everything's indoors, and it's the full deal. We've got a 2-day lineup of forums. We've got a DX banquet on Saturday night. We've got a YL breakfast on Sunday, a youth lounge. Dr. Monty Bateman and his wife Jean, I think in 14 years now, they had 120 kids through the youth lounge last year. Everything from soldering to scavenger hunts, Morse code. There's a GOTA station that Flex Radio is sponsoring, and we'll be having operators there, probably participating in the NAQP phone weekend. That's a popular contest, so there'll be a lot of activity on the air. And it's nice having a remote radio because trying to put up an antenna and do HF in a downtown area with electrical noise is very difficult. Got a list of dealers and organizations there. We've got a couple of new ones, a couple of returning folks. Radio Waves. They're not in that list, but they signed up yesterday.
Good.
TEDI and Tuna Tenna is not in that list either. They'll be joining us, and a few others that I just can't remember off the top of my head. And several additional clubs and organizations have signed up. We're so full that we've had to move a couple of the clubs and organizations out into the hallway.
Wow.
Lots of great things going on. We're way over 50 vendors. We were concerned with MFJ going up, with MFJ going out of business. We thought that might leave a hole. They announced that just before Dayton, but honestly, it hasn't affected us. We've got a number of smaller returning vendors and some new vendors, and we've filled the space. Actually, we put on our website today. We've sold out. There's no more room. We'll see you in 2025.
Wow.
So we're very excited about this year. We also have to update that photo because Kenwood won't be there.
Okay. Yazoo will be there, I'm sure. Yazoo, of course, is the corporate sponsor for the Young Ham of the Year award. Yeah.
ICOM, Elecraft. So the other big four will be there.
Good. Just a quick mention, of course, the Young Ham of the Year award has been there since 1993, and I want to mention that Yazoo USA is one of the longtime corporate sponsors, as well as I'm glad to hear that Radio Waves is going to be there because they're a corporate sponsor as well as Heil Ham Radio, and I think Heil will probably be somewhere over near the Gigaparts area, like they generally are. So thank you to our Newsline corporate sponsors, and thankfully you made a spot for the Amateur Radio Newsline booth too, again at the 11th hour and 59th minute, and we truly appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a dated drawing, July 24. We'll be updating it probably tomorrow, or soon, I should say.
Right, and I kind of threw this up real quick at the beginning of the show. Josh and I are going to have these on our persons. Let me get a little closer here. That's the I Watch Ham Nation sticker on the Ham Radio Crash Course. We've got, I don't know, several hundred of these things. There you go. We're going to be carrying around, and just come up and, be nice. Don't accost us or anything. Although Josh kind of likes that sort of activity, but you can accost Josh.
Yep.
Just ask me nicely, and I'll be more than happy.
If you smack Don, you get two.
Yeah. It depends on how hard you smack Don. But yeah, so we'll have those. And
hey, Mark, a quick question: how many volunteers does it take to throw this together?
At least 100, and we're over that number now. We could always use a few more, but we can get by with just a little over 100 volunteers plus 17 committee chairs to pull this off. Not the 700 or so Dayton needs. We're not that big, but we have a great crew locally, and we're starting to get some additional folks. We don't want it to be just Huntsville Amateur Radio Club. There's some outlying communities that are lending a few folks. I think somebody's coming from as far away as Texas and Iowa to help us.
You just cannot do it without the volunteers. It's
Absolutely.
Just impossible.
It's essential.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll tell you something about the volunteers on that Friday load-in. What is really cool about the Von Braun Center is they open up the big doors. And if you've got a trailer or a truck that you need to bring in to offload your stuff, you bring it straight into the facility and you drive as close as you can possibly get to your booth location. And there will be volunteers there to help you load off your truck and get all your stuff where it needs to be. And just the friendliest people. I remember Ted Randall from the QSO radio show said one of the first times he went in there and he was just flabbergasted by the fact that everyone was there. He could drive straight in. Everyone helped him offload his stuff. And it was just the great. And Ted has always just talked glowingly about the whole Huntsville Hamfest, as have I, because it's great. You're going to have a bunch of YouTubers there as well. And Tom Medlin was it W5KUB. He's going to be there. He always live streams, and he also live streams the Young Ham of the Year award presentation.
Yeah, there's a little change this year with Tom's schedule. He wants to enjoy the show.
Okay.
Tom W5KUB wants to enjoy the show, so he will not be live streaming.
Okay.
He will be like a roving reporter. He's going to shoot video for later broadcasts.
Good.
Very good. All right. Well, he has generally in the past live streamed it for us, but we can catch that, I guess, tape delay on the W5KUB stream then. Well, that's good. Excellent. He'll still be covering it though. And so that's the important thing. We certainly appreciate everything that you guys do for us at Newsline and have for the last 20-something years, over 20 years. with our association, and we have no plans on leaving. We hope to be there way past you and me and our time here on this planet.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, there are
Hamfest.
some questions coming up in the chat room.
Well,
I
let's
see
get
Josh
to them.
posted
Let's
one.
get to them, Amanda. What are the questions coming up? Because this is a great Hamfest.
Where is the YouTubers hang out, Josh?
Okay,
Oh man, where don't they?
Josh, do you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, sure. So, boy, howdy. Well,
He sounds excited.
yeah, we'll be everywhere on the floor, just everywhere. So
Yeah.
there's not like a place, there's not like a booth, because we also enjoy the show and we explore and take lots of videos and all that stuff. Mark, do we have a Sunday talk? I think the forum is TBD.
I think the forum schedule
Yeah.
has devoted. I think the forum schedule has devoted 2 hours to the YouTubers, but I think you
Wow.
wanted to talk about the
Yes, sir.
the happening up on the hill.
Yeah, so there's a wonderful place that we really love. It's called Montsano, and it is a POTA location. It's a campsite, and there are multiple pavilions. Every night, I don't even know when they start hanging out up there, but there's campers that are coming up, YouTubers camping everywhere up there, that you can just go up there, and we'll have more information as we get closer. We usually rent at least one pavilion every night during the show, so it'll be Friday, Saturday guaranteed, but they might start early on Thursday, maybe even more than that. So after the show, no particular schedule, just meander your way up there to the campground, and we'll be there in either one of the major pavilions, and you can just listen for all the radio noises and loud amateur radio talkings, and you'll find us pretty quick up there. It's a beautiful spot. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. When I went up there that one time, the guy at the main gate, he knew where you were, and I said,
yeah.
I'm with going up there with a ham radio guy. He says, oh, yeah, just go up there, take a left, and look for weird antennas. You'll find it. So,
And it's also a Parks on the Air site. It's
That's
a
right.
state park.
Yeah,
State Park.
I believe there's a soda there too, but it's not in the campsite. I could be wrong. Somebody in the comments will correct me, but yeah, it's
A soda?
yeah, Summit's on the air as well.
Summit's on the air.
So
Really?
yeah, so the POTA it's nonstop POTA. The funniest thing about that is we can activate any person just standing there with 2-meter simplex radios with all the radios that are on that mountain at any one time without having to reach out to anybody. But you can't fail to get a POTA activation under your belt if you want to try it up there.
Now, Mark, another question was, are DX banquet tickets still available? I didn't know that there was a DX banquet.
Yes, at the bottom
Okay.
of the homepage, there's a link to the North Alabama DX Club. They'll be hosting. Their featured speaker is Gene Spinelli, K5 Gulf Sierra. He was on the Clipperton Island DXpedition. Right there it is. Somebody highlighted it. And additionally, and new this year for Huntsville, is the W4DXCC. This is a contest and DXers convention. It's not so much a hamfest. It's more of a convention. In years past, it was in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's moving to Huntsville permanently.
nice.
And this year, it's only a one-day event, but it'll be Thursday. And
Terrific.
it'll be over at the Signals Museum. It's going to be a great show. But yeah, W4DXCC moving to Huntsville. And there's a link below this North Alabama DX Club from our Huntsville page.
Now, what is the Signal Museum?
It's not open yet, but Mark Ben Dixon is one of the founders of a large defense company. He's been acquiring radios half of his adult life. When I talk about radios, I'm saying everything from All American 5, tube radios, transistor portables, back to the spark gap stuff and everything in between. Super hets, regenerative radios, beautiful big walnut case things that you see in old photographs of people gathered around this big piece of furniture radio. Dozens and dozens of these radios. He's been acquiring these and restoring them. Basically, all the radios in this museum work. And it's a great venue for clubs. Our local clubs meet there, and now evening events are going to be held there too.
Very
nice.
cool.
Yep. There you see the picture. Scroll back down a little bit, Josh, to you see Grace.
Yeah, there's
Grace
Grace.
Pepe there. There's our Young Ham of the Year award winner right there. We'll do that at 2:00 local time on the main stage on Saturday. to present the award to her, and that's always a great time. This is the highlight of my ham radio year, is the Huntsville Hamfest, Mark. I don't know if you knew that. I'm such a cheerleader and an evangelist for this Hamfest. I love it. I mean, I love Dayton. I've never been to Orlando. That's a bucket list thing.
I love all these shows.
Yeah, they're all great. And what's nice is you guys aren't in competition with each other.
We
all
work
working
with each other.
Exactly.
I got the guest list from Orlando last night from John Knott. John and Michael will be there along with Bob, their commercial chair, several other guys. The Dayton guys are also coming. The past chair, Jim Storms, and several others. We put them across the aisle from each other so they can throw spitballs at each other.
It's perfect.
But
it's great.
We're great. We're a great team. And like you said, we're not in competition. We do what's right and good for the events and for the visitors and the vendors.
Right. And the hobby, quite frankly. Yeah, exactly. Well, is there anything else that we're missing, Mark, that you can tell us? Anything, what else is maybe new this year? Anything has changed since last year?
I mentioned a couple. I mentioned the W4DXCC being new, and I mentioned a few vendors. Get your tickets online. You save a couple of bucks. Online ticket sales will end the Sunday night before Hamfest because it gives us time to set up the will call computers and whatnot. But click on that tickets, and
now
you can buy your tickets online.
Are you still selling the multi-packs of tickets? Because I know in years past, for like $100, you could get a big brick of tickets. Are we still doing that?
Yeah, you can't do those online, but you can pick them up at the show.
Good, very good, excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I plan on buying a small brick. I can't afford the big brick. I'm not quite Eisenberg status,
right?
But that's what you should actually call that, the Eisenbrick.
The Eisenbrick. I like that.
Yeah, because he tends to win a lot doing that. I don't know what his system is. I've watched him, and I try to do the exact same thing he does, and I don't know. I don't have the success he has.
I think he does a special fold on each and every.
He does, and I've tried to replicate that, and I can't do it. But anyway, whatever. It's a great Hamfest. And again, we thank you so much for your support of the Young Ham of the Year award, both the Huntsville Hamfest and you personally, because you do a lot for us behind the scenes, and we appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and shaking your hand and giving you a big hug like I always do.
Okay, well,
I really
thanks,
appreciate
Don,
it, Mark.
And Josh and everybody. Thanks for having me on tonight. And it's ramping up. We're getting busy down here, so we'll see you in a couple of short weeks.
73,
I'm excited. Thanks, Mark.
Me too.
And
speaking of
Josh,
Newsline. I'm sorry. Wait, go ahead. Y'all got
Josh. When are you going?
I will make landfall Thursday afternoon.
So we're not going to interrupt this schedule for Wednesday night.
That's right.
Okay,
yeah. So we'll literally be screaming. I'll be packing my bag in the background while we're doing the live. I do have a plan.
I'll try to make it simple for you.
Nope, no problem.
Go ahead.
I do have a plan to hit up a Buc-ee's at some point. I got to hit the Buc-ee's up in Huntsville. So I don't know. I may be making a little road trip. It's not far.
Too far.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not far.
But that
Mark, how far is the Buc-ee's from Huntsville?
Probably 20 minutes out 565 to I-65.
Oh, that ain't bad at all.
Yeah, so I gotta load up.
My wife will have me stop and get some beaver nuggets. I'm sure she loves those.
That's right.
Got to get them nuggets. All right. Well, I'll see you there. I'm leaving here. It's about a 6-hour drive for me, so I'm leaving here sometime Friday morning. And I think Tyler, my son, is going to join me there later on Friday night. I think. I'm not exactly sure, but depends on his schedule whether or not he rides up with me. But we're looking forward to it. So anyway, all right. Well, speaking of Newsline and the Young Ham of the Year award and everything else, why don't we go ahead and get into the news of the week from Amateur Radio Newsline and the solar update, a big one, I think, from Dr. T. From Amateur Radio Newsline Report, number 2439, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. First up this week, a look at solar storms. And as almost everyone knows, we've had more than our fair share of CMEs in this part of the solar cycle. NASA has begun trying to better understand radio waves detected coming from coronal mass ejections. And now they have the tool to help them.
The unprecedented use of a research tool in space known as low-frequency radio interferometry is helping NASA scientists track radio waves emanating from coronal mass ejections. The mission is known as CURI, an acronym for CubeSat Radio Interferometry Experiment. Designed by scientists from the University of California, Berkeley, Curie's two small spacecraft launched from French Guiana aboard a European Space Agency Ariane 6 rocket making its inaugural flight. This is the first space mission looking specifically at the origin of these radio signals, which are commonly detected during solar flares, CMEs, and solar storms. Curie's two CubeSats are designed to capture the radio waves and triangulate them to determine their point of origin. Scientists are hoping that their findings can help better predict disruptions in communications as a result of rough solar weather. This is Ralph Squillace, KK6ITB.
If you're a ham with HF privileges and time to provide assistance to your fellow man in times of need, we have an opportunity for you. Here's Newsline anchor Paul Brown, WD9 GCO.
The Intercontinental Amateur Traffic Net, one of the oldest continuing nets in the United States, needs your help. In a posting in one of the QRZ.com forums, Holger, K2HES, said that the 20-meter net, also known as Intercon, needs additional net control stations to cover a 1-hour shift handling emergency communications. The net receives priority and emergency traffic on 14.300 megahertz daily from 1200 UTC to 1700 UTC during standard time and from 1100 UTC to 1600 UTC during daylight savings time in the United States. Hams with at least a general class U.S. license are eligible to fill one of the available slots as net control. Visit intercontinentalnet.org for more details and to see the net control schedule with the shifts that are available. The net has been on the air providing communications and goodwill since 1960.
In the U.S., Carnegie Mellon University in Pennsylvania recently added amateur radio to its curriculum for engineering students. Now, in India, another college has made that move.
Honours students in chemistry are being given the opportunity to add amateur radio to their first semester course load at a college in West Bengal, India. The RK Mission Vivekananda Centenary College announced recently that school officials believe that becoming a licensed ham will provide a gateway into the police force, the paramilitary, airport traffic work, and various divisions of the Indian military. The class is being designed to prepare students for the Amateur Station Operator Certificate issued by the Ministry of Communications. The school's principal said that although only chemistry students will be eligible for enrolment at this time, educators may expand the roster to include undergraduates focusing on physics. The school also plans to set up an amateur radio station on the campus. 70 students have enrolled in the course, which is being taught by the Indian Academy of Communications. This is Jason Daniels, VK2LAW.
Another reminder that the 2024 Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award will be presented to Grace Pepe, K8LG, on Saturday, August 17th at 2 p.m. local time on the main stage at the Huntsville Hamfest in Huntsville, Alabama. Many thanks to our corporate sponsors, Yazoo USA, Heil Ham Radio, and Radio Waves Antennas. For more on the Huntsville Hamfest, visit hamfest.org. We look forward to seeing you there. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Ralph Squillace, KK6ITB, Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Jason Daniels, VK2LAW, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update from Dr. Tamitha Skov, WX6SWW.
Space weather this week continues to be quite active. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, you can see a lot of activity from this cluster of regions here. In fact, we've been paying close attention to region 3762, 68, as well as 3764 through 67. These two sets of clusters have been firing off not only big solar flares, but also Earth-directed solar storms. In fact, right now we are in a G1 level solar storm. Looks like conditions are going to be a little bit more mild than forecasted. We expected G2 conditions, but things are kind of a bit more calmed down. Nonetheless, we're going to get some sporadic aurora through the rest of this evening and also expect amateur radio operation to be a bit dicey, especially on Earth's night side. But you'd think that these regions would be calming down as they rotate to the sun's west limb, but that's not the case. They're continuing to fire big solar flares. On top of that, as we look to the east limb, conditions are going to continue to be bad, especially when it comes to radio blackouts. Region 3772, this is a new region that is definitely a big flare producer, as well as region 3774. This region is old region 3738, which is a region that gave us an X14 class flare on the sun's far side, as well as an X11, as well as an X7. So expect that this region could still have more firepower. So R2 to R3 level radio blackouts are definitely on the menu. And even as this cluster of regions rotates to the sun's far side, expect that the conditions will continue to stay bad with a lot of noise on the bands, because we have even more regions on the sun's far side that will be rotating into Earth view over the next few days. And now switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week. At high latitudes, we are expecting major storm conditions. This is NOAA's expectation. We do have about a 50% chance of severe storm conditions at high latitudes, with aurora likely over the first, and then calming down a little bit, expecting only about active conditions on the second, but with about a 40% chance of a major storm. It's kind of hard to tell with this big train of solar storms that we're in right now, whether the ones that happened, that launched after, let's say, July 30th, whether they're going to end up hitting Earth or not. So it's a little bit dicey. That's why you see such a spread in the numbers here. But by the third, we're expecting things will be calming down. Likely only about 30% chance of minor storm conditions, and then things will get even more calm after that, presuming the other big active regions in Earth view don't launch Earth-directed solar storms, which could be possible. So expect that as a possibility as we move into next week. We could once again see more Earth-directed solar storms. And now switching to our mid-latitudes, well, again, we're looking at minor storm conditions, and those will likely continue through the first, possibly into the second, before things calm down a little bit. We have about a 20% chance of major storm through the first, but then calming down to only about a 10% chance of minor storm conditions on the second. And then once again, we're going to be calming down quite a bit. We could have some side-swiping storms, which could keep us a little bit on the unsettled side, with a little bit of activity possible. It's really hard to tell whether or not these storms are going to actually hit Earth or just kind of graze us, or who knows, miss us completely. So just expect that things into the third and fourth will be settling down, but it won't be quite quiet yet. And then, of course, as the new regions end up causing us trouble, we'll see whether or not they launch any Earth-directed solar storms. So expect that these conditions could change very rapidly. And now switching to our solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week. We do have solar flux in the triple digits. Obviously, we're now sitting in the mid in 220s. Could be calming down just a little bit as we go through the weekend. Not expecting all that much of a calm down, but we do have a lot of clusters of regions rotating to the sun's far side. Yet we do have new ones that are going to be rotating into Earth view. And from the looks of it, they could very well keep that solar flux up in above 200 range. We are also dealing with the severe noise on the bands right now. I am pushing this out throughout the week. We have about an 80% chance of M-class flares. This is at the R1 to R2 level radio blackout. Again, pushing it on through most of the week, maybe calming down just a little bit as some of those regions rotate to the west limb. But these new regions definitely look like they are flare active. So expect the dayside radio bands to be quite noisy. We also have about a 25% chance of X-class flares. This is at the R3 level radio blackout. That might calm down just a smidge, but expect R3 level radio blackouts to be on the menu easily throughout the rest of this week, and possibly the week after that. Then things should calm down just a little bit. Let's hope so, because we'll just have to kind of grin and bear it as far as radio propagation on the day side is considered. Now, as we switch to our radiation, storm, and polar aviation outlook over the coming week, everything is in the green, surprisingly. We are at the D1 normal range, and this is for you aviators at flight level 360. It's also the S0 quiet range for everyone else. Notice, though, we have about a 20% chance of radiation storms right now, and this is likely going to continue easily for the next few days, because we've got a lot of those big X-flare players rotating to the west limb, and when they rotate to the west limb, that's when the chance for radiation storms really begin to pick up. We might see it die down just a little bit, but I'm not going to drop it all that much, because the new regions that have rotated into Earthview, especially old region 3738, that was a big radiation storm producer on the sun's far side. And so I don't really want to dismiss it as having the same possibility here Earth side. So this upcoming week is going to be quite interesting for all of us, and expect that these conditions could change at any time. So be sure to check your ICAO advisories often. So the space weather this week continues to be extremely active. We have those big regions rotating to the sun's west limb, but they're not the only ones. We have some new regions that are rotating into Earthview, and those are going to cause lots of issues for us over the next few days. And so conditions will continue to stay very active, with amateur radio operation having a lot of noise on the dayside bands. So you're just going to have to grin and bear it and hope we can get through it within the next couple weeks. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
There she is, Dr. T, with the report for this week. We certainly thank her. That is hot off the press, by the way. She just got that to me about 20 minutes or so before showtime. So it was a mad thrash to get that all put together for you. And we certainly thank Dr. Skov for getting that to us, and fresh information as well. Follow her on X at Tamitha Skov. She's got a YouTube channel that's under Tamitha Skov. And of course, you saw spaceweatherwoman.com. She's a great follow on X. You really should follow her, because you will get almost up to the second information. I seriously don't think she sleeps. So, all right, well, there you go. And thanks, of course, to the Newsline folks. There will be a Newsline booth at the Huntsville Hamfest. It'll be near the main stage. And of course, if you see Josh or myself walking around, you can get these stickers, which I want you to know that these came from the print shop of our very own Amanda Alden, K1DDN. And she did good, Amanda. I think you spelled everything pretty much right.
I did. I didn't even have to use spell check.
You didn't?
No.
Amanda has her link in the video description as well. So if you want to check that out, you do fantastic QSL cards and eyeball
you need
QSO
cards, right?
What hams call business cards, eyeball QSO cards. You got that too. So it's nicely done.
I need some of those.
Yes.
I got to get some of those. Yeah, I got to get some of those.
We almost have time, Don. I could get you some before Huntsville.
Could you?
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about
Hit me
that.
up. Okay, I just want to go over some things this week. You guys, a busy week in ham radio. And I have another fun website we're going to go over. Josh, let's hit the North American QSO party first.
All right, let me get you over here, and I will pull up. This should be it. One of these will do it. Sorry about that. All right, here we go.
Now, just if anyone's looking to dabble in contesting, this is the one. This is the one you should do, because it's only 12 hours long. It's on Saturday, and it's like equal opportunity is what that's not the real word, but everyone has to be barefoot. So I think it's 100 watts or less.
You're going to take my shoes off?
Yes, you do. Well, not in that hot room. Don't do that.
No one wants that.
Anyhow, 100 watts or less, and then there's a couple of different categories of like QRP, obviously, things like that. But it just makes it much more fun, where you don't have the big gun stations fighting everyone out, and it's an easy exchange, and it's quick. So also teams are really popular in this, so a lot of clubs get together and do this contest. But I would encourage everyone to dabble in this one if this is you're thinking about doing a contest. It's not the DX contest where it's hard to copy the call signs. It's all North American. So, and lots of awards. And I think the multipliers are obviously different state sections, things like that, and including the Canadian section. So have fun with it. And it's been a long-standing one. It's hard because it's in the summertime and we're always so busy, but again, only 12 hours. So check out the National Contest Journal website and find out more information about that. And you can see they do a CW and RIDI as well as phone. So, all right, what else do I have on my list? Oh, this weekend also, starting August 2nd, is the 14er event that's hosted in Colorado. But I do believe that all the sodas try to get activated at the same time. So basically, you don't have to be on a 14er to activate a soda, but go to a soda, and this is the weekend for you. So we hope to hear a lot of you on there. I'll be monitoring, obviously, Simplex and see what I can hear. In Colorado, we hear a ton. And usually I go camping this weekend, so I'm always up in the mountains. But unfortunately, I can't do it this weekend. But a fun event. and all the soda to sodas will be going on. And I wish I would have had Bob K0NR join us tonight. He's a huge VHFer and has written some books about it, but he kind of helps host this event. So
K6ARK and I will be chasing. This is a big weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to be out, hopefully camping, maybe backpacking, but we'll be out there trying to chase you guys if we're not activating ourselves.
Okay, well, see, it is kind of nationwide. They're really, here in Colorado, we encourage the Colorado thing, but I knew that it was probably probably even worldwide, gets on this weekend and does it. So be sure to do that. Does everyone know the rules? Let the sodas work the other sodas. Don't interrupt, but put your call sign out there and they'll definitely get you in the logs. And you can see all the the links, Soda Watch. You can go to, there's a beginner's guide if you don't know how to do this, or if you're thinking about activating your first soda. I am still kind of on the shock level that there's a soda outside of Huntsville. So I did not realize that. Evidently they don't have to be really high heels. It has to be is it, Josh, you knew more about this than me, so I'm not trying to claim.
Yeah,
it's the above ground level.
Yeah, they call it prominence, and so if you're on an appropriately high thing and in an area where there's not that many high things, they'll take anything they can get. Although if you've got the the benchmark for a lot of those summits, if you're hiking around and you find the little silver disc, oftentimes that is a summit on the air activation. Often.
Ah, okay. Well, there you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's. Anyone else have anything they want to add for sodas? Listen for Josh, you guys, if you're in the California area, SoCal area. I wanted to play around with this. This is a pay for antenna simulation software, but there's some things we can learn on here. It looked really interesting to me. Now, this was brought to my attention via Twitter. Somebody tweeted something that they were using an aspect of this to find a Smith chart for their antenna. And I was like, that looks very technical. Really not up my alley, but there are some of you that would find this highly interesting. So basically, you can plug in any kind of either a wire antenna, an antenna array, and they will simulate what to expect out of it, RF levels, power ratios. Now, Josh, if you want to click on resources up top, and then there's a blog, go there. And the first thing that I noticed, the first blog article is about modeling, feeding, and tuning a 20-meter band dipole antenna. I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's read about it. So they have some really, obviously this is not just for hams. This is for anybody in an RF world for using antenna, anything. So this is basically a subscription-based website, so you can plug in all of your calculations and everything, and they'll tell you how it's going to work. It's very scientific, if you ask me, and it's way above my pay grade. So but some of you will find this really cool. And they do have a trial, and under I think it was under resources or under pricing, this starts at $399 for 6 months, but you can put in any antenna project that you have, and they do all of the Smith chart calculations, everything. So you don't have to do anything like that, any mathematical. Once again, I don't know who would find this helpful, or if you just like to experiment and build your antenna and throw it up and see what comes back at you. But this is one way to do it, very high end. What do you think, Josh?
Well, they even get into feed line here. You can put in a balance line. We were actually talking about that before the show went live. That's pretty interesting, pretty cool. It's like a image version of some of the software that's out there. It seems a little bit more user friendly. It's pretty interesting. Price is a little high for our ham radio budgets.
Yeah, that's the bronze level. So like a platinum level subscription to it is $599. I was like, youch. But I would like to maybe get the trial offer just to see what they allow you to plug in there and see how far you could go with it. I don't know if it's a number of uses or only certain antennas you're allowed to plug in there, maybe only wires. I don't know. until I play around with it
At
more.
the platinum level, the antenna assembles itself, right?
I would hope so. And the supplies are
Right.
shipped
Yeah.
to you. Yeah, I thought that was pretty outrageous, but this is not for me, but I thought you guys
Somebody
might find it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it's antennasimulator.com. Check it out. And if anyone does use the trial or something, send me an informational about it. I'd like to know how it worked out for you. So, okay. That's it. That's what I got today.
All right. Well, that was
busy
cool.
this weekend. Yeah. I'm going to go to the super launch this weekend that we had the Great Plains super launch people on. I'm going to go see that this weekend. And I'm going to try to do some ham radio stuff. And that's about it for me.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in doing summits on the air, this would be a fantastic weekend to try it out.
Definitely.
Now, keep in mind, if you're attempting to do it on like 2 meters, you might want to make sure you're in an area where there's lots of simplex users. Like if you're in Southern California area, you can activate a summit, no problem if you got a view of the South Bay. It's pretty easy. But you might be in a more remote area where you might have to use HF. That's just a reality of it.
And I think spotting is allowed no matter what. So spot.
Yeah.
That will be really helpful for you. Around, Colorado is a little different because a lot of our summits are 10,000 feet and above. So it's pretty easy to make those simplex contacts. But VHF contacts. But other than that, a lot of people are on 20 doing some FT8. They bring up their buddy poles. And, those 705s work quite well. And now people are doing the 905 so they can do the 1.2 gig contacts as well. And they're having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
So we always make sure we bring ours going when we go camping and things like that.
Pikes
This
Peak.
conversation gives me mountain envy.
Yeah. Pikes Peak is a drive up, everybody. If you didn't know that, and you want some,
yes, it is.
Yeah, drive up soda location, and pretty
you can
awesome.
make VHF contacts all the way to Kansas, so Wyoming, Kansas, and New Mexico for sure. Almost 100% guaranteed.
Might want a Yagi though in that case, but you don't need it, but it might help if you built yourself. Even a tape measure Yagi is going to do pretty good for you.
Yeah, and anyone that goes to visit Pikes Peak, always bring your radio because you just never know. Even your handheld,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to make some fun contacts up there, and you're going to talk to some really far away people that you had no idea could hear you. So,
That's so cool.
All right, that's it. I'm done.
All right. Anybody have any mentions they want to make before we wrap up?
Just another big thanks to Huntsville, the Hamfest, and everybody involved with that. Mark in for BCD. And, of course, our Newsline Young Ham of the Year corporate sponsors. We couldn't do it without them. We're missing CQ Communications. We're really sad that they're gone. But nonetheless, they were a big supporter for a lot of years and got some good friends still over there, some folks that were associated with them. But Yazoo USA is still our sponsor. Heil Ham Radio, even though we lost Bob, Heil is still our sponsor. And, of course, our good friends at Radio Wave. So look forward to seeing everybody in Huntsville in a couple of weeks.
I'm excited.
And to answer the chat, Jeff is doing great. Radio and Delta are also doing great. And he's currently working on a parting together an A4S out in the backyard. It's on sawhorses. And
Nice.
We're seeing if we have all the parts and all the traps and stuff. So, yay, fun times.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
So, let's not forget our nets.
That's right. Yes.
We have 20 meters, 14,268. And on 40, we have 7192. Mr. Kev and Steve are doing a great job. We thank them so much for running those. And D-Star, we have 14 Charlie. So get on the air and tell our net controls thank you very much for being there every other week for us. And then we're going to be back here August 14th. I can't believe it's already going to be August. Where'd the summer go?
My kids already got to go back to school.
Yeah, I know. Tomorrow's August. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is
my
crazy.
sister's putting her classroom together. The lady who cuts my hair, she's a school bus driver. She posted a pic of her bus because I'm getting ready to get back in my happy place. So, yeah, school is open. Be sure you watch for school zones, people.
Yes.
Important.
Definitely.
When is the net again? Monsoon Josh asks us.
Right after the show.
That's it. Go get on them nets.
Probably going on now.
They usually start at the top of the hour. So even if we run late, they're already running the net.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and we will say 73.
73.
There it is. There's the stickers. Come get one.
Yeah.